A very good evening and welcome to everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, ICFAI's Leadership Conversation is actually hosting the 58th leader on its show now. I'm extremely happy to welcome Dr. Rashi Gupta to this conversation. Good evening, ma'am, and welcome to this conversation.
Very good evening. Thank you very much for hosting me for this session.
Thank you. As you know, every Friday we used to conduct these conversations a bit late in the evening around 6:30 and later at 7 and 7:30 p.m. Today, we are advancing the time to 4 p.m. and we hope that this is going to be a slot which is most convenient for a large number of our core audience. Making sure that it reaches as many people as possible is our endeavor, and this is one such experiment. And I hope all of you and many more new folks will continue to join week after week, every Friday evening. Let me take a few moments and introduce the guest today. She's going to talk about storage solutions and the future that we have in India and also the world around. We call these Wise Views Leadership Conversations because we have requested some of the most experienced and distinguished leaders from around the world, from various domains, to share their lessons, share their journey paths, so that the discussions and conversations and inspirations spur some kind of spark in these budding leaders. So that's been the attempt all the while. I would now again take this pleasure to briefly introduce the speaker. Dr. Rashi Gupta is popularly known as the Battery Wali of India. She is a pioneer of manufacturing of advanced lithium batteries in India, along with the world's smartest lithium battery. She is the founder and managing director of Vision Mechatronics, leading it towards a name to reckon with in the field of robotics, renewable energy, and energy storage. She has received wide-ranging recognitions, and some of them are like this. She was recognized as a woman entrepreneur who created a prominent brand in the renewable energy sector of India and is featured as Asia's most influential woman in renewable energy 2020. She has been working on gender equality and women empowerment issues globally. In recognition of her work, she has been awarded the Global Women Leadership 2021. She has also been featured among the first 50 women in STEM by Confederation of Indian Industries 2021 for her contribution and excellence in STEM field. This is amazing. She has been awarded Corporate Guru World Award 2021 for her works in SDG 5 and SDG 7, the Self-Development Goals 5 and Sustainable Development Goals 5 and 7. She is featured among top 40 global women leaders in energy storage 2022. I'm sure the list is very, very interesting, and she has definitely got many recognitions in India and abroad for the excellent work that she has been undertaking. She also has got a good track record on social work. She is very passionate to work on sustainable and circular development. As we mentioned earlier, focused on SDG 5 and SDG 7. She has been working relentlessly for rural electrification to ensure that the rural schools in India get access to clean and green energy, enabling them to be at par with the urban schools. She holds degrees in engineering, law, management, and she also earned a PhD title. She is a committee member of Bureau of Indian Standards for Batteries, Energy Storage, and E-Mobility. She is also a member of International Electro-Technical Commission. I can go on and on. This is a very interesting profile, and that's why we requested ma'am to spend some time with us and motivate us about her own journey, as well as some of the very interesting aspects concerning this particular energy storage solutions that is key to our growth in this country, not just in electric vehicles, but across various other applications. With this introduction, I now request Dr. Rashi Gupta to come forward and initiate her opening remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, the opening remarks is very simple. We have time allocated for about 20-25 minutes for the speaker to talk about the topic today, followed by Q&A. The Q&A will be moderated by my esteemed colleague, Professor R. Prasad, and we have taken the questions from all of you and clustered it into buckets, and we go sequentially so that we have a particular way of talking about it and learning about it, in the sense that there is some coherence. So thanks. And I now request Dr. Rashi to start. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for hosting me today and giving me an opportunity to interact with such brilliant minds. It's a pleasure. Thank you. Okay, now when we talk of energy, this is a question now for which you can maybe, is the chat box open? I mean, people can type in the chat box, right?
Yeah, it's open. It's open.
Okay,
you please continue to talk, and whenever we require to pick up anything from chat box, we'll pick it up. No issues.
Yeah, great. So we're talking of energy and energy storage. Now, I have one first question to everyone in this room here is that what is energy? What do you guys understand of energy? When we use the term energy, what do you guys all understand? What is energy? I mean, you can just put it on the chat box, any one of you, whatever you think. What is energy? Positive vibes, okay? Energy is a form, okay? Anyone, it is a form with which work is done, okay? Definitions, okay? Strength and vitality, okay? Energy keep driving, okay? Very nice. So now, okay, we've got different dimensions, driver of an action, okay? Energy is a very vast subject, and understand it is beyond electricity. But today, since almost everything is driven by electricity, we tend to correlate energy directly with electricity. That's the first thing that comes to our mind. So energy, even you and I are energies. We all are energies. The food we eat is energy. The water we drink is a form of energy. The wind that is blowing is a form of energy. The sun that is shining is a form of energy. And what we need to now understand is to be a very successful nation, to be successful in every aspect of our lives, we have to store every form of clean energy. Now, I have emphasized the word clean energy. Now, does that mean just clean electricity? What would happen if you store spoiled or dirty food, you know? If food does not have a good, it's not cooked properly, it's like semi-cooked, it's spoiled, it's not going to be storing, you can't store it for long, right? It gets spoiled. So it's important to store clean energy. So clean energy comes in many forms, many forms. And the form that we are going to today discuss is more on the electrical side of it, more on the generation and storage side of it. But this is very important as an aspect to realize, to absorb, to understand, to adapt, that we need clean energies in this world now. Human beings tend to, overexploit and change the natural forms that are available for their own conveniences, for the better use, many reasons. But now it's time to clean and have more sustainable, inclusive, diverse sources of energy around us. The world today is going through a major transformation. What we had in 2019 is no longer valid in many cases, but energy is still valid. But what is changing? The way energy is perceived, the way energy is generated, the way energy is transported, and the way energy is stored, and the way it is used. All of this is very important to understand. So now, just with this slight introduction of what energy is all about, let's begin with what I've been called here to speak on something very technical subject of energy storage. Now, when I talk of energy storage, I'm now today going to talk about electrical energy storage, which could be in multiple forms. Now, again, the question is, how clean this energy is in terms of its generation, in terms of its distribution, and in terms of its storage. Because if you don't store anything clean, it is not going to be sustainable in the long run. And what we today need is sustainable energies for the longer run, for a longer duration. And at an affordable cost. That is the most important point, you know. You could have a fantastic innovation, it could be really great, but if it is not commercially feasible, it's not going to be successful. So we need a techno-commercially feasible kind of a project and a process. So when you talk of energy generation now, we have the traditional methods of hydro, the coal, thermal power plants. Then we have even mechanical. No, mechanical would go into storages, but you could have a generation from solar. You could have generation from wind, and then you could have even the geothermal kind of generation. You could have. So you could have it from the waves, tidal energies. So a lot of these facilities are available where we can generate energy. Now, what is important is how are you transmitting it? Because each and every many places are the large scale plants where you generate a lot at the large, and then you have to transmit it to the other places, because everything that is generated is not used at the same place. So it is going to be transmission. Now, traditionally, we all have seen the transmission lines running across our streets, across our houses, and you know the transmission lines typically. Now, what comes is the storage. Now, what shift or what change or what transformation can storage bring into the energy landscape is the thing that we all need to imbibe, absorb, and implement. Now, energy storage, what wonders it can do? It can actually bring down the cost of the energy. Now, that is a one question that now I'm sure in the comment boxes sometime, or maybe even in your questions, you must be having these cost questions somewhere. So what would happen is, see, what happens is in a typical, let's take an example of a typical solar on-grid kind of a system, okay? When you have this typical solar on-grid kind of a system, you are generating the energy right on your, I'm considering a case of a rooftop, let's consider a case of rooftop. You generate the energy on the roof and you immediately supply it to the electricity grid. Now, there's no storage, no usage, nothing. It is a direct export, and whatever you are consuming is from the one hand you export and one hand you import, and that's how it works. Simple language. Now, in this case, what happens when there is a grid failure? These solar system that you have on your roof is no longer viable. It does not make any sense. You cannot use that electricity. So there comes a picture of storage. Now, storage could be of multiple types. So what does storage do here? In this case, the storage, it helps you unleash the entire power of your system. It can give you the best ROI. How? Because at any point of time, if the electricity grid fails, I mean, the grid failure is there, you can still use your solar power at a very efficient price, because it's the value that the system has created. What is the value? You can still have electricity at the time when you need it, when the electricity board has failed. So before storage, that solar was rendered useless, and adding storage makes it absolutely viable and useful for you at the time that you need it. So that's the change in the perception and the value that energy storage created. This is just an example that I'm giving you. Now, when you go for a larger scale project, energy storage could be used in multiple applications, like a backup application, which we all have traditionally seen. India is a storage country, to be very honest. We are an energy storage pro country. We store everything. We store food grades, that is one form of energy. We store water, another form of energy. We store electricity in terms of the small inverter batteries in the house that we have. We store a lot of money. Money is a very important form of energy, my friends. Remember that. And we store a lot in our bank accounts, in FDs, in mutual funds. We do a lot of investments out there. So we invest our energies we invest in our energies to store them properly and efficiently. But now it's the time that we realize that we need efficient, sustainable, scalable energy storage devices, electrical energy storage devices. Similarly, you can have thermal energy storage devices also. You can have geothermal energy storage devices. Then you can have mechanical energy storage devices like a flywheel, for example. But now what happens is the most popular ones are the lithium-ion batteries today. Or rather, let me tell you, the batteries are the most easiest form of energy storage, electrical energy storage. Now, what happens is we Indians have a very specific way of thinking. We like to do easy work. We are very royal in our nature. So we like to do something which is easy. Only that thing will get the most popularity, which is easily adaptable, which is easily scalable, and which is easily, and then it becomes easily acceptable. So the mindset of our country is easy work and affordable work. So today, if I have to make a statement, I would say lithium ion makes a very strong for an easy, affordable case, subject to the right sizing and the right chemistry for the application that you're looking at. So if you have this correct mix, you will be in a situation where lithium ion would make a lot of sense. And with the way technology is advancing, with the way things are progressing, with the way research is happening in the labs, I'm very sure that lithium ion is there for at least a decade or two, nothing less than that. How we have seen the lead acid or the gel batteries ruling for 100 years now. This is the time for this progression and transformation, and it makes a very good business case to have more lithium ion batteries. Now, how you can use batteries to the maximum is something that I'll address now. So batteries can be used as a typical backup system. That is what we have been traditionally doing with the small home inverter systems, where one light, one fan, and a few other appliances could run, depending on the type and the size of the system that you have. You could also do it as as a diesel replacement, because India uses a lot of diesel generators around throughout. A lot of diesel generators are used in India. So that is one way of doing it. Another way is of doing a frequency regulation. Then there is a peak shifting. Then there is a demand demand case. There is a demand case in which you have to do a demand satisfaction at the time, demand response. You could do a voltage response. Now, what does all this mean? Now, when I'm talking of a frequency response, what I mean is that the lithium batteries, that this would be not done by a lead acid battery. Okay, this is a very specific case of a lithium ion battery that I'm talking about. Now, in a lithium ion battery, you can do a frequency response, wherein the frequency coming from the grid and what the frequency is required into the system or into the campus or into the installation site does not match. Then batteries could kick in and correct the frequency. You could even have a voltage response. Similarly, when you have the voltage going out of the ranges, that time you could have a voltage response. You could have a peak demand shaving. What happens is most of the times there is a peak demand between 6 in the evening to 10 in the night, and again 6 a.m. in the morning to 10 a.m. in the morning. These are the peak hours. And your tariff in the peak hours is the highest. Sometimes if you have a chance, just reverse your electricity bill and see the tariffs. You will see that the highest tariff coming from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. So at that time, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. So at this point of time, you could shift your peak load to your energy storage systems. Also, in case of demand response, what you can do is that suppose at any point of time your sanctioned demand is, say for example, X kilowatts or X kVA is your sanctioned demand, but you actually need X plus 2 or you need X plus 5 or X plus 7, whatever, a Y. So when you need a Y, what would happen is, but you are allowed to use only X. So the ESS or the energy storage system can kick in and give you the difference between X and Y. So that is another option. So, this is so versatile. Just because it has a very high energy density, just because it has a very quick response, it really kicks in very, very fast, and it gives you a very high C rate. It gives you a very good discharge, and it charges very fast. So overall, it gives a very, very good advantage as compared to any other batteries prevalent today commercially. So lithium ion makes a very good case for all of this. Now, something which is very, very important to understand in terms of lithium batteries is the type of chemistries that are there. I'm not sure how many of you are from the chemistry background, but still, I'll just touch upon it a bit. Broadly, there are three types of chemistries which are majorly ruling the markets today, which is the nickel, manganese, cobalt, the most popular NMC chemistry. Then you have lithium ferrophosphate, and then you have lithium titanate. Now, lithium titanate is a small, has a relatively lower solid state batteries I will come to. And I'm just covering the lithium ion right now. So then in that, what happens is in the three, the lithium ion batteries have the NMC has the highest energy density amongst the three, but and that is the reason it has a very smaller footprint. Now, when it comes to LTO, it has the lowest of the three energy density, but that is why it has a very larger footprint. LFP is a midway between the two, and it's the most loved chemistry. It's the most stable chemistry. It is very temperature tolerant. It is very stable to use, LFP. But now comes the question is what is your application and how you're going to use it. And not just the application, how good is your battery management system? That will decide how many life cycles will your battery actually have. Will it really sustain that long? Will it catch fire or not? Will it be able to withstand the temperatures? Will it be able to sustain the kind of vibrations that we're looking at? Or will it be, it is, if the battery cells are the heart, then the BMS is the brain. So how intelligent your battery is going to be and how sustainable your battery is going to be will all be deciding factor would be the battery management system. So you need to have a very robust, intelligent battery management system. So a battery management system would come in two ways. One is an active balancing battery management system and one would be a passive balancing battery management system. However, the most common and the most easily available kind of a system is the passive balancing system, but it's not very robust. If you really want a very robust and a very intelligent system which can actually give you a quick response on what is happening around, then it has to be an active balancing, full-fledged IoT-based system, and that is going to really work wonders. So this was a little bit on the lithium-ion batteries. Now coming to solid state, yes, solid state makes sense, but it is still not commercialized. Like I said before, it has to be a techno-commercially feasible case. So we are still waiting for commercialization of these solid state batteries. There are also aluminum air batteries, there are sodium batteries available. There are various chemistries available. I am not disputing any chemistry. All of them are available, and the time will tell, based on the commercialization aspect, which chemistry is going to make a biggest impact. Based on many conditions. A few that I can elaborate now is one on the environmental impact. What is the environmental impact that the environment is creating on the battery, and what is the impact that the battery is creating on the environment? Both are equally important. So based on that, that is one factor. Second is the commercial impact that it will have. Third is the scalability. What is the scalability and feasibility that the chemistry would bring? And I think more is the availability of the raw materials. Because today we are all struggling with the availability of raw materials. Today we are struggling with the supply chain, which is completely disrupted. And with the war that is ongoing, and if it just takes a mega kind of position, then we may have more disruptive supply chains, and we'll have to see what we can manufacture indigenously to be sustainable, to make sure that we do not have any power wars within our country and we can supply to our country. So that would make more sense today. So considering these a few factors, these are not all the factors, but these are a few important factors. Considering all of this, we would come to know that which chemistry is going to rule the world for the next, or rule at least India for the next few years or a few decades to come. But by and large, I feel this makes more sense today. So overall, if you see the picture today, lithium-ion makes sense. It should have a good battery management system. It should be robust and it should be scalable. And of course, it should tick box, checkbox of, it should tick the checkbox of the supply chain issues that we have. So I guess I'm in 20 minutes.
Yes, you are. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a very interesting opening overview of the landscape of energy storage solutions that we have, with a special focus on electric energy. And I think we've spoken a lot about understanding. It's like a studentship note that Dr. Rashi has developed for us. And I think I have also made lots of notes listening to her. Thank you very much, Dr. Rashi. It helps us refresh our own knowledge and also add the emerging knowledge levels with respect to this particular subject. This is a key area that most of us should develop, not only awareness, but also will have to manage resources around this. And this is going to affect our future in a big way. So thank you very much for picturing the landscape of energy solutions for us. And very importantly, the variety of chemistries that are available for us, and how do we make a choice of those chemistries based on the parameters that you use to evaluate them, how it is going to impact us on the environment, on our costs, on our scalability, and more importantly, on our supply chain mechanisms. Because if the raw material is not available, then the cost is going to go up and the speed is not going to be there. So scalability will affect. Everything is interlinked, and therefore we will forever be looking for these solutions from beyond the borders, and we will not be able to sustain it by developing indigenously. So you made a very pertinent pitch, apart from giving the basic details. Now I think is the time to actually change gears and get into a deeper set of questions. And for that, we will start the Q&A session. I'll now request my colleague, Professor Prasad. Professor Prasad, briefly, I'll introduce him. He is an alumnus of IIT Bombay and IIM Kolkata. He brings to the table a rich experience and exposure of 3 decades in the corporate world, in the academic world. Also, he was an entrepreneur. So it's a fantastic combination of a true professional that is in front of us. Welcome, Professor Prasad, and kindly initiate the Q&A session, and I will follow in the next cluster. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Rao. Ma'am, it has been an inspiring profile and an invigorating opening remarks. I think you have set the stage. You have taken us back to our technology class, and therefore we have a lot of questions to ourselves at that stage. The gear that we are shifting is to the world of entrepreneurship right now and to the world of management. And so our first set of questions will come into that. A lot of students who do management, also many who do technology, want to become entrepreneurs. Somewhere along their life, they want to create and do something on their own. So in that context, the first question is from your own background, ma'am. What was your journey from research to application? How did you travel this journey with a special focus on batteries?
Okay, a good one. See, I'll tell you what. I found it very difficult to work after some time, work under somebody after some time. Okay? It was very difficult for me. I'm being very upfront, candid, and honestly, I'm giving you this review. And you know what? I just realized the amount of effort that I'm putting for somebody else. If I put for myself, I can do wonders. My creativity would not be bound by somebody else's decision. It is my own decision, my own thought process, and I'm responsible for the consequences of it, good or bad, whatever. And then I took my decision. No, this is done. I'm not going to work for anybody else anymore. I'm going to do it myself. It's my way or the highway now. So that is what was the breaking, make or a break point for me at that point in my life. Way back in 2009, way back in 2009, when I just decided, no, now it's going to be me. And I challenged openly the people saying that this girl, this small little girl who's just come out of college, can she do something? And, can she create? And that was hard for robotics at that time. And can she do something about it? Because usually students coming out from college are very raw and they do not have too much of experience in terms of creating world-class things. But then I just took it a shot and I said, no, I can do it. And I'm very confident I can do it. Give me an opportunity. With great difficulty, I got my first order of 2 lakh rupees. At that time, the banker said, we will not allow you to open a current account. You don't have a introducer. Way back then, we needed introducers and stuff. So I had to take it up to a very high level. And then the chief manager of the bank said that, okay, I will sign it. I was like, you guys just sit on this big 5-star hotels, eat the lunch and happily and go away, and nothing happens to the young budding people who want to do something about it. Of course, today the scenario is much better. We get a lot of investments also. My time there was no angel investor, venture capitalist, or funding rounds, ABCD. Nothing was happening at that time. Very tough times when I had started, but you just can now just go for it. If you have an entrepreneurship idea, do not stop your creativity, guys. Please go for it. It is worth your time, money, and investment only and only if you believe in yourself. Even if the world does not believe in you, but if you believe that it's going to make a substantial difference to the community, it is going to solve a problem, and it is going to give you an utmost satisfaction with a good night's sleep, go ahead. Don't stop yourself, ever. When I came to batteries business, you just asked about it, so I'm saying, when I came to batteries business in 2015, when I started lithium batteries, everybody just told me, you are going to lose your money. Don't do it. And I was like, I will not lose my money. And even if I do, it is my money. It is my own money. I am not betting on your money. I'm willing to take that chance. And I'm glad that I took that chance. And I'm here with you guys today. I took that chance. So do not just ever, subside that feeling that you have. It is going to work for you. It is going to do magic for you.
Okay, ma'am, you have given us some good insights into what triggered your entrepreneurial journey. Now, coming to a bit more of specifics, you have converted some research into application. Can you take us through that part of the journey also?
Yeah. Okay. Now, again, this has a social thing. Why I did that. I've just gone for the batteries to a next level. Okay. Batteries are conventionally available. Even lithium is conventionally lithium ion available. What is the difference that I created was I took it to the next level by adding IoT way back in 2015-16 when lithium was not known, IoT was not known. IoT is the hotcake topic today, but not then. And why I did it, because see, if there is anything that goes wrong today, what do? You call up the helpline and you tell them that, okay, this thing has got spoiled and that thing has got spoiled, and the fellow on the phone, the representative customer care will tell you it will take 48 working hours for our person to come, reach there and do whatever it requires. And as a female, nothing to do with the male counterparts here, but as a responsibility that females have, we have to look after the house, we have to look after the kids, we have to look after our job. And if something gets spoiled, then also it is our responsibility to get it repaired and replaced. So it was too overwhelming in that point of time. And I was like, if I am creating a product, can I not add or take it to the next level where the customer does not have to call up? Can we do something as in a proactive step of preventive and predictive monitoring so that we can call up the customer and tell in advance that things are going to go bad, sort it out now? Can we do that? I told my team, research, solve it, and implement it and see to it that there is no customer call coming to you. You should keep calling the customer and tell him that this is wrong or that is wrong, that has changed or whatever has happened. Because it gave me such a good peace of mind today. And that is taking the service to the next level. Today, there is not a single phone ringing. It's always the lines are busy because our people are calling up and telling, okay, this could go wrong, that could go wrong. Please do a preventive. If the system is not online for say 5 hours, 6 hours, our team calls up and sends an email and are saying that, okay, your systems are not online for so long. Is there a problem? Is there something support that you need from us? So taking that, okay, whatever I could research, I could understand, I imbibed it and I put it to the next level of service support. Making my product as more robust to give me more feedback on what is happening on the field. I would proudly say that in 8 years, there is not a single replacement, there is not a single repair, and there is not a single warranty claim in last 8 years of my existence of this business of the lithium ion. There has not been a single case. And we have been proactively, preventively preventing, monitoring. We are doing with each and I did it at the cell level. Huh? See, pack level you can always do, but going to the cell level makes the big difference. That creates a more impact, more robustness, because then you know which cell is going bad. Then you know where, and it has has a traceability till the manufacturer's end to the batch where it had come from. So that gives you an edge over the others. So whenever you're doing some research, please try and implement it, and that will change the way things are looking at, things are perceived, and how your customer service would also depend on that.
I think that's a very significant value add that you've done, what we call in our language, unique proposition, that you've brought to something at a stage when people have told you that you lose your money, and then I think you've made all incoming into outgoing, not from an expense point of view, but from a call point of view. And that is really remarkable. That this sort of, the design of the value add, I think is remarkable as we hear it from you. Okay, ma'am, there's a supplementary question here. There is, what makes people call you the battery wali of India?
In 2015, when I started with lithium batteries, I was the only female entrepreneur in this domain. Okay, and having such large scale batteries up to 90 megawatt hour way back in 2015, there was nobody doing it. Even today in India, with that scale, people are not able to do it. So, what happened is, in India, there's a habit, whatever the person does a work, you add a wali or a wala to it. I mean, if he is doing whatever work he does, so that is what someday what happened is when I had called my doctor and he said, hello, battery wali bolo. Somebody must have stored my name as battery wali. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, see, it shows battery wali out there. And I'm like, okay. So people started recognizing with my work of the specific lithium ion batteries that I was doing. And then I decided, why not take this love, affection, and respect from the industry and my customers, and accept it as a title. And that's when I started using Battery Valley as a title. But this was out of the love, respect, and the work I have been doing. So I'm associated with that work. And this happened way back. And actually, by seeing my work in 15, MNRE was very happy with the work I did. They nominated me to many of the Bureau of Indian Standard committees, and from committees of Indian Bureau of Indian Standard, I kept on going international with Electrotechnical Commission and then clean tech clubs, and then it's a long way since then.
So I think, they too stored your name as Battery Wali, and I think a storage converted itself to a brand name.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
that too is very interesting. Okay, ma'am. We move to the next question. A lot of potential being talked about for electric vehicles.
Yes.
And the question is, what kind of role and vision do you think your company is looking forward to in this space?
Well, electric vehicles are important for a cleaner transition. I completely agree, but we need to understand what is more valuable today. How valuable is your life as a user? Now, there was a question in the box also regarding the EV fires, and I know EV fires is a hot topic which needs to be addressed. So I have one question to each and everyone listening to this today and interacting and participating. How much do you value your life? Is it more valuable than the EV that you're buying? If yes, then please assess the EV before buying. It is very important. Now, why I have just digressed a bit, and I'll come back to your question on this, is because in India, we have this concept of the cheapest. Sasta chahiye. Sasta sundar tikau chahiye. I'm specifically using these Hindi words because everybody would resonate to this. Now, how sasta is your life, man? What is the tag that you are priceless? Please understand that. So please evaluate the specifications. Please cross-verify before buying things. Don't just go by the cheapest is not always the best. Now, what has happened in the EV fires? I could give you probably the reasons, but I will not pinpoint onto anything that could lead, that would be the cases in all of these. Now, why does battery fire happen? Because of primarily a thermal runaway. Now, why does thermal runaway happen is because the BMS did not cut off in time, or there could be bad quality of cells, or there could be a bad quality of building the battery pack, or there could be no installations, or there could not be any precautionary measure that was required to take at that point of time in the manufacturing and placing the battery pack into the vehicle. Many factors, which one in which fire has contributed, no comments. But since there are repeated fires happening, it is time for all of us to evaluate what quality are we buying. Are we just taking the dumps from the neighboring countries and are very happy with that? Or we want to change and bring about a change into the quality terms that we are going to use? Because we have to value ourselves first. Now coming to what value proposition my company is creating. Yes, we are into the EV sector, but we are not the cheapest. But we create a lot of value for our customers. We do the big battery systems. We do some smaller ones also. And we are already expanding. We have just doubled our capacity this year. The factory is still under renovation and the expansion is going on. We have doubled our capacities and we are looking forward to the EV domains. But we will ensure that whatever we are offering is at par to what we are doing with the stationary storage systems. No compromise on quality, no compromise on any of the features that we have offered till date. That is my vision for the EV sector. EV sector will grow for sure.
Excellent, ma'am. I think you have placed an alternative to what can be done in India if people apply their mind to it, and you are demonstrating that that can actually take place, and that is extremely valuable. I think an even more valuable point that you have mentioned is that in the case of many products, and you've taken the example of EV, we are part of the product. Just as they say in social media that you are the product. I think we tend to forget that we are also part of the product, and therefore the value that we give to the product in terms of quality. I mean, EV is just an example, but I think this pervades all space. And that implication of that kind of consciousness will come in, I think, gradually when people start seeing better quality products and see that these things can actually
make a difference.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. The next question, ma'am, is about the big change from lithium ion and the talk about sodium ion batteries. What is your outlook on this? How do you plan to bring it in, if so?
Well, see, sodium ion makes sense, but the footprint is very large. So we need to understand in which application, how much trade-off are we willing to take to have this adoption of sodium ion. And I have still not seen, to be pretty honest, a real commercial case. Like I can go off the shelf, buy a sodium ion battery, install and go. That has not still happened. So that would take some more time. I am already in touch with sodium ion researchers who are actually working indigenously to actually create something very good in India, but they're still on a very small scale, very small lab scale, and we need to commercialize it. So like I said before in the opening remarks also, time will be deciding and which technology is going to rule based on the commercial viability, availability, scalability, sustainability, and the impact of environment. These are certain factors which I feel will contribute whether it is lithium ion. Now, in case of lithium ion, how long lithium ion will survive? In case of sodium ion, whether it will rule, it will be a ruler for the next few decades, or it could be aluminium air, it could be even hydrogen storage, anything. It is too early to make a call on which one will survive. But yes, one thing is for sure, India needs a hybrid energy mix. India cannot go by one technology. India will need a hybrid energy mix, and it will need all of them will come together. Now, which one dominates with what amount quantum of market share will be decided by the time based on certain factors. These are a few factors, there are many more, but that will be, the energy mix has to be hybrid. It cannot be one technology, for sure.
Thank you, ma'am. I think you have responded to this partially in the opening remarks, the possibilities and the limitations and the constraints factor that people evaluate this kind of thing with. And I think this brings us to the point that one needs to be very adaptable and very dynamic.
Yes.
In how one chooses one's options. Correct. And invests into that. Thank you. On this question, there's a last question in this cluster, and this is essentially on the retailing of batteries. I mean, the movement into retailing of batteries, you have touched upon it in the beginning when you said that this is one of the most powerful points, that you can take it here, there. In a way, you also touched on it when you put IoT, because it's IoT there which help you to do it. So how do you, what kind of things do you see? I mean, where do you see retailability of batteries going?
Batteries are going to stay. They are not going anywhere. And when you talk of retailability, scalability, definitely yes. 100% yes. Just like how you are picking up off the shelf lead acid batteries, you will see lithium ion also coming up. But that will take a little more time. I'm seeing another 3 to 5 years, something like that, because people still don't understand how to use lithium ion. There are still not compatible power electronics to use lithium ion pretty well. This is going to take time. But this is going to work. And this will be, in a geometric progression. This is going to scale a lot. For sure. No doubt about it. And time has come.
A small supplementary here, ma'am, with respect to which industries these kind of applications are going to emerge. You have
Every
mentioned
industry, I'm seeing that. See, telecom, yes, one. I see backup, one. I see grid response, one. Then I see even diesel replacement. I mean, we did a 1 megawatt hour diesel replacement with a hybrid energy storage technology in Gurgaon. It's been running for 1 year. We just got an award also. It's there behind the ISGF Innovation Award. We replaced the diesel generator completely out there. For 1 year, there is no diesel being used. And that's a commendable amount of savings that they have. So diesel replacement, definitely yes. Backup and solar-based, renewable energy-based solar solutions, so whether it is wind, it is solar or whatever. So definitely all these segments will blow up, no doubt. UPS batteries, yes, even there you can take it up.
So I think potential opportunities for all those entrepreneurs who want to assess, evaluate, there's quite a bit there. And I hope they follow your footprint of keeping quality in mind and customer value proposition.
Very, very important. Otherwise, they will fade away like small mushrooms in some time. If you want to be sustainable, you want to run in the long. See, if you want to make a quick buck and move out, no comments. But if you want to stay in the long run, you want to make your mark, you want to have a peaceful life without any stress, please focus on your quality. You will survive.
Absolutely. I think a hallmark for life today. Thank you very much for this cluster. Back to Professor Rao.
Thank you very much. I think it's been a session marked with lots of energy levels. Thank you very much, Dr. Rashi. I now request the audience, if they have any questions to ask, they can raise their hands and we'll directly open the window for them. In the meantime, I'll probably start with 1 or 2 questions. These are to be taken up very fast, in the sense these should be quick response questions, given the timeline that we have.
Rapid fire, is it?
It's not rapid fire.
Okay. Okay.
But if you wish to have one, we'll create a rapid fire also. But there's a participant who recently got a rooftop solar at his home, and he went shopping for batteries and surprised to find there are no lithium-ion battery makers. He didn't know this was. He came from US, so he wanted to do this for his home in India. Other countries installing batteries at enormous scale in stabilizing the grid. With fossil fuels skyrocketing, the battery making industry in India is pretty rudimentary and behind the curve. It would be good to know what the current reality is, and realistically, when can we achieve a scale of providing capacity, at least for domestic needs?
We already have, my friend, this for domestic needs. I mean, see, I'll tell you what, even though my portfolio goes up to 90 megawatt hours, we have a 3 kVA system also for the home needs. And for us, I've made sure that the sales team understands that every customer is equal, whether he comes with a bandwidth of 1 megawatt or he comes with a 3 kVA. He is to be treated equally. And what we did, sir, was going one step ahead, is giving a plug and play system.
Mm-hmm.
So that any local electrician who comes with a telephonic assistance from us can install it. You do not need very, very trained, ultra trained professionals in doing this. Regular local electricians who understands live earth neutral can do the installation of the systems. They're actually plug and play devices, 2 buttons to switch on, 3 connectors to plug in, and you're good to go. Because we just realized over a period of time, people don't understand lithium ion still. And the power electronics are not available in terms to, readily available off the shelf, which the US guy did face a problem. I understand, because US things are much more advanced than in a developing country like India. But then we have gone to that level where it is a plug and play, very nicely looking device, which you can actually keep it even in your living room, and you can just plug it in and it works. So we did that. It is available. Maybe a little more of Google makes more sense. So maybe a little more search he should have done.
Good. Yeah. Thank you very much for that. So the second question in this cluster is about the CAFE2 norms, the corporate average fuel efficiency norms. Although they are implemented, they do not carry the financial penalty. So how does this help the case? What are some of the possible ways that can reduce the carbon footprint of India? This is a larger question, actually.
No, I'll tell you what, many of the corporates are now working towards their responsibility of reducing the carbon footprints. They all have their targets, and we are very closely working with the corporates and industries to help them reduce the carbon footprint in terms of, most of them are assessing. And I know so many of them have reached out to us saying that, will your product help us reduce the carbon footprint? Can we really do that? And yes, it does. In fact, in anybody who is using our product will also be getting some credit points for the IGBC rating in Green Building Congress ratings also. So yes, there are people who are working, but it is slow. I am not denying that it is super fast and it is, like this, it will happen. No, it is slow, but they are realizing the responsibilities. They have set their targets and they are working towards their target.
Great. Yeah, it will take some time, but they are at it. Yes. The next point is about the EV. I mean, there will be many questions about EV in different forms. How can the issue of charging station be sorted out with respect to electric vehicles in India?
I don't see a problem there. I see a problem here, not with the charging stations. Why? It's the way we think. We unnecessarily have made the range anxiety as a problem. There is absolutely no problems with the charging stations. They are very well available. In fact, they are still, okay, some regions may have a denser footprint of these, and some may have a smaller footprint. I agree with you on that. But they are available. Government is doing a lot of work. Industry is coming forth, putting it, for the charging station. There are so many apps, mobile apps now available, which will tell you which charging station is available and whether it is free to be used or not, if there are charges, and whether it is available. I mean, some other car is parked or it is charging or not, that availability. All of this is available on the mobile apps. People are really doing a lot of work in putting up charging stations in the country. There is a lot of work going on, for sure.
Fantastic. Wonderful. So the outlook is extremely positive.
Yes.
Okay, there's another question on, according to you, how many years more it will take for electric flights to happen? Okay.
5 to 7 years at least is what I'm looking at for completely commercialization. At least, where just like how we just book an Indigo or Air Asia or a Vistara or Air India, like that, 5 to 7 years at least. Flights have already taken up, but not commercially. They're very specific ones.
The other question that is appearing in the chat box is, what is the role of robotics in storing the solar energy near offshore? I think if I read it correctly, yeah, that's what it is. Role of robotics in storing the solar energy near offshore.
I want this person to elaborate this question. And
yeah, I think we can open the window if you want.
Dr. Perini, if he's around, please elaborate, sir, this question.
Dr. Perini, would you like to ask the question yourself?
Okay, ma'am, very nice.
Yes. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Yeah. See, this is about offshore facilities were playing a huge role in making the solar energy easily tapping is possible offshore, like rather than having the tapping of the energy onshore, even near the seashores, offshore also we are tapping the energy. It may be a tidal energy or a wind energy, need not be solar energy. So how far that your company is also taking any conscientious and deliberate efforts in introducing these robotic mechanisms for this purpose?
No, my company doesn't do it because we are more into robotics for vision automations and inspections and indigenizations of machines. Okay. We do guiding and inspecting robots more often than this. But I'll tell you just an overview of what robotics can do. Robotics can help you in cleaning. Robots can help you in maintenance and assessments. Robots can help you in gathering data. So this is the,
yeah, sorry to interrupt you. That all I know, ma'am. But
Yeah,
what
okay.
is the key role does a robotic can make in storing the energy? That is what I am more interested. Do you think any role is there for the robotics? Because storing of energy during the offshore is a very tedious task for any human capacity to make an installation of that. So whether these batteries can be used for storing purpose, does the robotic can aid help for it? That is my question.
Installation, yes, robotic aid can help for sure. Installation, yes, can be done with the help of robots.
Yeah.
And I think maintenance also can be done with robots.
That's what.
These are the two things I think, because the energy storage as a process would be automated.
That's what it is. Like man-made catastrophes may happen near the offshore, where their human capability will not be sufficient to have the reachability over there.
Right. So in that case, you can have robotics interventions coming.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fantastic. I think that's a good conversation. If others would like to ask questions, please quickly raise your hands. Then we'll open the windows as well. In the meantime, I'll request Dr. Rashi to take another question. I think certain questions are already covered in your opening remarks and other responses as well. Like, for example, energy storage, how crucial it is. It's a very general question, but yes, across various applications in different industries like food and dairy industry processing, these are extremely important and priority has to be given. As ma'am has already highlighted that we need to work on it as soon as possible.
And if you don't store it now, just forget it. You will not have energy for the next decades. You've got to do it now. It's now or never.
Right. On the similar lines, there is another concerning question, and I mean it's writ large on it. Will we go through a period of deep crisis with gasoline becoming very scarce and electric vehicle technology being not yet economical enough? Yes, we will go through.
We will go through a power crisis, and if we do not prepare for it now, we will certainly be queuing up just like we are seeing our neighbors do it. We can be even worse than that. Why? The neighboring country is small. We are a much larger country with a much larger population and much more needs. We have to do it now.
I would like to understand one thing from one of the participants. I'm not able to read the capital letters written here. Srikanth, we can allow Mr. Ramesh to ask a question if he has, because there's a huge script out there and it's very difficult for me to read that. Maybe we'll invite him and ask him to raise that question himself. Welcome, Mr. Ramesh. Please go ahead.
Utilize a little more in telling us the question so that we can answer it and make use the best of that energy.
I know. That was, he was trying to conserve energy and time. Mr. Ramesh, is there any problem or shall we jump to the other questions that we have? Okay. Ma'am, would you like to suggest any energy saving solutions that are applicable in education sector? Education sector as in schools, colleges, universities, and edutech. Across these applications, what are the energy saving solutions that you would recommend?
Now, which energy are you talking about?
Electric energy?
Okay, electrical energy.
I'll come to the other forms of energy also, I think.
Okay, so in terms of electrical energies, I mean, this is an open thought, Can we get rid of the air conditioners? I've been trying to work on a project where I can get rid of all the air conditioners. I want something to do with natural cooling, make it very comfortable for all of us. You know why? I mean, this is not directly related to education, but see what happens. The institute has a lot of air conditioning and a lot of energy. It is an energy guzzler.
True.
And what happens is if you actually remove your air conditioning load, you would see your actual load is not much. And even if you just put a rooftop solar system, With how much ever roof you have, it will be sufficient to take care of your needs. So the question is, how much do we actually need? And with this, what has happened is we are getting into a heat trap. With continuously adding air conditioners, the heat is blown off into the environment outside, which is raising the ambient temperature. So, I mean, this is for all the people listening. If anyone can give me a solution for a natural cooling, I would really want to listen to it and implement in one of my projects where I am doing the energy storage and energy map of that particular project. It is for a 300 people kind of place, and one is a 5,000 people kind of a place. Now, when you come to energy conservation, first, can you imbibe a mindset of, can you change, because you're an educational institute, right? So when we have educational institutes, can we imbibe a change in their mindset to conserve energy in the first place? Anytime you're moving out, please switch off your lights and fans. Just because I am not going to pay the electricity bill doesn't mean I leave it open, or I leave it switched on and I leave the classroom or whatever. So, that is one thing. Can we imbibe that mindset? Second is, can we have more renewable energy into our ecosystem? Because that will change the landscape completely, whether it is in a capital mode, capex mode, or in an opex mode, whatever. But somewhere that will help us reduce the impact of the electricity that we're doing. Can we have more energy efficient devices? Because India, we just see what is the MRP or what is the out of my pocket capital expense at the moment. We forget what is the OPEX or the operational expense which is recurring to me. Can we have devices which are much more efficient 5-star rating devices? Because see, educational institutes are huge and they do a bulk purchasing. So that would make more sense. So having efficient 5-star rated devices will really reduce your electricity bill substantially. Similarly, so for example, any device for that matter, AC is just one, your electricity lights, LEDs, or even if you have your motors, pumps, they're all rated, all this BW rating is there. So can we have more energy efficient rating devices? Once we do these things, and can we use natural source of light during the daytime while making the buildings or while construction? Can the architect actually, instead of closing all the doors, windows, use maximum of natural light? That will reduce your electricity load directly. Some small pointers, very small pointers, but they have a very long-term impact. In the long run, you will save a lot of money, because what happens is we just have this mentality of looking at the capex, capital investment that I'm doing today. What is going out of my pocket today? But we forget that a small amount of money really over a period of 10 years, 20 years, it will become too much. That would change the way we think of it. And one more thing that I was thinking is, we should do a first full life cycle analysis of whatever product that we are going to buy. If you don't do that, you will never come to its actual true impact on the environment, on your pockets, and on the sustainability and feasibility. So that is one thing.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ma'am. I think that's a very, very good response to this question of what are the suggestions to save energy as far as education institutions are concerned. I think those who are listening to Dr. Rashi would understand that the suggestions are pretty implementable and practical. First, get to the basics of energy requirements or the assessments that how much do you need? And as you said, ma'am, the education institutions are large. Their rooftops are large, actually. And if they go solar and they make that assessment and go for solar quickly, I think that is actually making sense of the resources that are available on one's head. That's very, very simple. And then the devices that one would like to use should be efficiency rated devices, from lights to all kinds of devices that you're using, pumps, everything. If you buy appropriately with some kind of sense into buying on sustainability, definitely that will help these organizations. Natural sources of light should be utilized is a very pertinent point. These days, some of the buildings that are constructed are closed, and therefore they would end up requiring a lot of artificial energy instead of utilizing on the natural source of light that you have. For example, we would like to take you to one of our campuses whenever it's possible, but I'll give you an example that while our ICFAI Foundation for Higher Education at Hyderabad is a deemed university, it's a 100-acre campus. A large 80% of the campus is open.
Fantastic.
It's open, and then a lot of energy, a lot of light comes from the windows, from the glass doors that we have. I think it looks well lit most of the times, except
That is
for
very nice. So your electricity requirement is much less. Your fans requirement is much less because you would have cool breeze blowing anyway out there.
Absolutely. And we are
We
also doing
need to, we need to be in harmony with the nature.
yes.
Nature has created us. The 5 elements of nature is all within us. And if we are in harmony with the nature,
Yes.
we are successful.
Wonderful. Yes. As some of the ICFAI campuses, I mean, most of the ICFAI campuses in the large format that we have across the country, we have about 20 campuses in 16 states now. And all these campuses are large format, and they look transparent, not just from the point of light, but also from the point of view of visibility. In educational institutions, as you enter the gate, you should be able to see almost all the entire campus from there, almost. And that talks about the personality of the institution, that it is transparent and it is not going to be opaque. Opaqueness is a symbol which is against the spirit of inquiry of education. So
Okay.
I'm very happy that you triggered this discussion by making your suggestions on how institutions should be architected. I think the physical architecture itself is a result of the mental architecture that you have for the students and for the country. So thank you very much, ma'am, for touching those very important points which are dear to us. Now what I will do is I'll request Professor Prasad to come back for a question, and then we will wrap it up after that. Professor Prasad, please.
Ma'am, before I come to my question, I was, just reflecting on this air conditioning thing. And there was some research at MIT which was trying to focus on how air conditioning can be around the person rather than being fully in the room. I think about 3-4 years back. So the heat is only around the person. I mean, so you tackle the heat around the person rather than tackling the heat in the entire room. And they were doing some work related to that. I was also drawn to how satellites, exist in space. And, though there it not be heat, it may be the reverse.
Yeah.
In terms of ambient temperature outside and what you need inside. So, I don't know whether, all these things, how they will get translated into what we need to apply. But these are just thoughts. I was just responding to your question.
Thank you.
The other, the question from the, this is not asked from the audience side, but what I understand from the session is there is a lack of awareness.
Absolutely.
About what is possible with such sort of energy storage solutions. And a lot of questions have come from there. From what I can observe is that there are lots of things actually happening, but it is not getting translated to awareness, into communicating, into branding, into marketing. So what are your thoughts about this? What do you think can be done so that, because for instance, if you were saying that there were solutions which are available for the rooftop, just as we had in another session, we had, somebody who was cutting off harmful waves from mobiles. Okay, Enviro, the brand was called Enviro. But again, the number of people who know about it is less. So the question is, what do you suggest in order to increase the awareness? Because it still seems to be early adopter stage.
Yes.
So what are your comments on that?
Well, we as an industry have to do a lot of work on creating awareness. But we alone cannot do it. We need the support of educational institutes. And I'm so happy that ICFAI has really taken up this. And you're inviting people from different sectors. So, educational institutes, if they can tie up with industries for maybe now online sessions, of course, have taken up the place. If we could have such one sessions for all your students at large. Maybe just one session on what are the upcoming trends of technology, what are the upcoming trends in these sectors, in different sectors, say medicine, say maybe tech transportation, or maybe storage or energy or whatever, any sector. So that would help us reach faster, because there is and you know what, we need to tap the young minds, because they are the foundation of our next generation. And I personally am seeing there is so much of gap between the new generation and what we're teaching them in the curriculums. There's a lot of gap. So please, educational institutes, help us communicate better. See, because we cannot do all the communication ourselves because we are busy with innovation, we are busy with the regular work that we are doing, we are busy with the products, we are busy with the sales. But there are some level of awareness that we all have to create. More around sustainability, more around energy usage and technology, because technology in the last, say, 5 years from now, I mean, leave the 2 years of the COVID thing. But I think we need to go much, much ahead and much faster. We are at a very slow pace. I agree, even that industry is slow in terms of creating an awareness. So what will happen if one person runs alone in the race, he's going to lose it. But if 3, 4 people, industry, government, academia, if all of us join our hands together, create a program, we can reach much faster. The reach the educational institute has is not available with the industry. So if we can partner, we can reach masses much faster. We can create an awareness much faster. We can help the adoption of technologies much faster. So I think that would be my take. I think that makes more sense.
It's an excellent idea, ma'am. And I think, that is precisely what lies is the seed of what we are trying to do, though we have not gathered the scale that we hope to. That this is a platform. This is the kind of platform where what is right at the forefront, which normally doesn't get covered in the curriculum, and which is very exciting and which triggers curiosity in those who want to do much more. Just as you said that you didn't like working under somebody, a lot of people like that. I think this kind of thing needs to go across to higher educational institutions in particular, and we'll have to see what we need to do about it.
Absolutely. Because it has to be a collaborative effort. It cannot be a single-handed effort.
Yes.
So it will not work.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. I'll quickly request Dr. Samyadeep to ask his question super fast in 20 seconds. Dr. Samyadeep, he is worried about too much of buzz and very little action. Dr. Samyadeep, can you please come in?
Wow, that is something I'd love to answer or I'd love to interact on.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Rashi. It was a really nice discussion. I was listening to you from the beginning. It was very, very well thought and well planned and well motivating. The only thought which often disturbs me is that still every year, or rather every month, we see almost hundreds of new internal combustion engine cars models being launched by the big the automobile manufacturers. Thousands of petrol bunkers of all BPCL, HPCL, IOCL, and whatnot coming up around us. And we only see EV infrastructure, solar infrastructure discussions only in forums or in papers. Whereas visibility is only in terms of few number cars, which we can see. Where will the awareness come from or the visibility come to the common mass? Because it's a sort of, two sides of the same paradigm. One side you're showing the oil bunkers, other side you're showing a very high-end, large, costly cars. People like us who might be interested, but we get confused how to go ahead. So this is a question that, is it a buzz or is it actually moving at the right pace where it should go on at a year-on-year rate? Thank you, ma'am.
Fantastic. Okay, now this is a double-edged sword on me, but I'll still answer it. And without diplomacy, I will answer this. As a common man, I would say wait for some time to buy in. My reasons: cost, number one. Number two, technology. Cost is deterrent as of today, considering the subsidies also. Number two, the technology is changing very fast. It is still not stable. So it will take some time. Weigh your options. Now, why I'm saying weigh your options is because we have very limited choices. We have only 2-3 models per manufacturer for that matter. So that is limiting our choices. So you should see a lot of adoption, affordable adoption happening somewhere 24-25 is what I anticipate, subject to global disruptions, supply chain problems, availability, and the government enthusiasm and initiative. So this is my personal take and opinion on EVs. And just like I said, that India needs an energy mix. Many technologies will stay together. Similarly, automobile industry will also see a mix, which will have your conventional ICE, you will have hydrogen vehicles, you will have electric vehicles, you will have hybrid where you have part on EV and a part on hybridization of vehicles. You will see all of this in a mixture because every product has a market segment. Every product has its space in the market. Just like you see a product being sold on the streets as well as in the mall. Now, which one suits you the best is a choice you have to make and an informed choice that you have to make. So everybody will coexist. Again, repeating the statement, which technology, which product will have how much market share will depend on the 5 minimum factors.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Samedeep, for that question. And there are many other questions, but we'll put an end to this now with the satisfaction that we have discussed enough and the learning is continuous and discussions are continuous. We will post some of these questions by email to Dr. Rashi and will request her to reply and we'll share for want of time. What I will now do quickly is thank you very much, ma'am. I would like to summarize this very interesting and wonderful talk, and these bullet points are for the benefit of our audience that I'll take about 2 minutes to do that. As the demand for electric vehicles rises, there's also a growing demand for batteries, that is lithium-ion batteries. Apart from electric vehicles, these are used in telecom towers, mobile phones, and power grids, among many other applications. So the Indian government estimates that the country needs a minimum of 60 gigawatt-hour of lithium-ion cells by 2025 and a double of that by 2030. Lithium-ion batteries are made up of multiple connected lithium-ion cells in addition to other components, and a battery pack is made up of multiple batteries. India has companies assembling battery packs in the country, over 200 of them, and multiple players looking at battery recycling, but not a single lithium-ion cell manufacturer, including traditional battery manufacturers. Unlike lead-acid batteries, lithium-ion cells make up for a whopping 75% of the total cost of electric vehicle battery pack, and they are also more challenging and expensive to make, mostly thanks to the scarcity of raw materials. This has also led to a big difference in basic customs duty for the two. That is, while battery packs have an import duty of 15%, cells have a mere 5%, which means it's a lot cheaper to import cells and assemble them in India than to import the whole batteries. While a lot of battery technology has been brought from outside, none of it has been designed keeping the Indian climate in mind. The prevailing battery technology is more suitable for colder climates and four-wheelers. As a result, batteries that work for 3,000 charge cycles in Europe may not perhaps last even for 2,000 cycles in India. The renewable energies industry is looking already at sodium-ion batteries as an alternative to lithium-ion batteries. Probably sodium-ion batteries are cheaper to manufacture thanks in part to the abundance of raw material. To put it simply, you would be making batteries from salt. There are several cell chemistries generally evaluated on various application, evaluated on cost, energy, density, safety, efficiency, raw material availability, temperature range, so on and so forth. Dr. Rashi has given us a masterclass in terms of understanding the basics of these battery technology and the energy storage solutions that are prevalent in this country. And she has also given us the outlook for future. Ladies and gentlemen, we should remember a few things here. The lessons that we take home are extremely important. Dr. Rashi has become an entrepreneur at a time it was very, very difficult. And also, a lot of peers and a lot of people around would discourage us more than encourage us. And there is an additional factor that if a woman is an entrepreneur, you would have resistance coming in abundance. That has happened even with Dr. Rashi. I think the force with which you have led it head on, saying that even if you say and predict that I'm going to fail, it is my money with which I'm going to fail. I think that's a lot of credit goes to the person who is in charge of this. And that's a big takeaway for all the budding entrepreneurs out there. For the budding leaders, we need to understand that when you start in tougher times, you become a pioneer, and that's what Dr. Rashi has become. So thank you very much for your presence, ma'am. And I also would like to mention that your thoughts on preventive and predictive monitoring, which you are pushing your R&D, your research teams to actually work on. The customer should not call us. We should call the customer, is a fantastic vision of handling some products, and also the way service attributes are taken to the next level. So one is in terms of entrepreneurship, which you have taken to the next level. Other one is your outlook on energy, which you have taken to the next level. Your solutions and suggestions for various industry applications, you're taken to next level. Customer services, you're taken to next level. And one more thing that we will have to remember today and forever is belief in yourself. When nobody around is ready to believe yourself, even then you single one person should abundantly believe in yourself, and that is called belief at next level. I think that is also a very important aspect. You have come across today personally to me, and I'm sure for all of us around the screen, you have come across as an embodiment of insight, your experience, expertise, and also an embodiment of a lot of energy yourself. So thank you very much, ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it to one wonderful gutsy battery wali we have with us, Dr. Rashi Gupta. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Wonderful. I will write you. I will share the summary of this conversation along with the video recording of the link, and then after that we'll share with the general audience for them to make a note of that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. You have joined us the 58th time uninterrupted on our leadership conversations. So the 59th is also going to happen. It's like business as usual for us now. 4 p.m. on June 10th, we are going to listen to Dr. Shantanu Paul. We are going to talk about the digital payments and the digital money and the rise of digital money from UPI to CBDC. So it's going to be a great session, promising to break on June 10th at 4 p.m. So do join us. We will share the links with all of you. And I also request Dr. Rashi to share those links with her colleagues and friends and associates. And from now, it is deemed to have partnered with you in terms of learning. We learn from you. We'll also provide a few opportunities from other leaders where your team members also can learn. And ICFAI is ever ready to partner with you, ma'am. We'll request you to visit some of our campuses and make some suggestions on how we can actually do the energy audit as well as move into energy efficiency zones with your suggestions and expertise. So,
thank you so much.
So thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, Professor Prasad. And I thank all the leaders who have joined from ICFAI Tech, ICFAI Business Schools, ICFAI Universities, various other universities other than ICFAI from the corporate world. Some of them have joined from US, UK. Yeah. Thank you all for your patience and your time and involvement in asking so many questions. Questions are still pouring in, ma'am. I will write you with those questions. And thank you all. Have a great weekend. Good evening to all of you.